Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be taking a deep dive into some really cool Starlink news today.
Yeah.
You know how satellite internet has a reputation for, well, for being a little slow,
Ugh.
a little laggy,
Yeah.
especially in, certain parts of the world.
Yeah.
Well, Starlink's doing something that could completely change that.
Yeah. They're really tackling this latency issue.
Yeah.
And latency is, if you think about it, it's that delay between when you click something online and then you actually see the result.
Yeah.
So like waiting for a website to load.
Exact.
That's latency. And the lower that latency is,
Right.
the faster and the smoother your internet experience is going to be.
Yeah, and, one of the biggest challenges for satellite internet is that the signals have to travel such a long distance.
Yeah.
Like, to space and back.
All the way to space and back, right?
Right, yeah.
So Starlink's been working on a solution to this problem, and it involves something called points of presence,
Okay.
or POPs. And these are, think of them like strategically placed hubs
Okay.
that connect Starlink's network to the wider internet. So,
Okay.
the closer that POP is to you,
Right.
the shorter the distance your data has to travel, and that means
Oh.
lower latency.
So that's where the big news comes in.
That is where the big news comes in.
Starlink just launched a brand new POP in Nairobi, Kenya,
Yeah.
which is only the second one in all of Africa.
That's a big deal.
So this is huge for users in East Africa because before this, their data often had to travel all the way to Europe to connect to a POP.
Yeah, can you imagine the lag?
I can't even.
Yeah.
No wonder people were complaining about slow speeds.
Right.
But now with a POP right there in Nairobi,
Yep, they're in Nairobi.
users are seeing huge improvement.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking, some people are reporting latency drops from over 100 milliseconds down to 30 milliseconds.
Really?
That's almost as fast as fiber optic internet.
Wow, that's incredible. So this Nairobi POP is amazing news for users in Kenya. But
Yeah.
what does this mean for Starlink's global ambitions?
Well, it shows how important these POPs are for their expansion and for them staying competitive. I mean, they already have millions of users worldwide,
Right.
and that number's growing fast.
So they're going to need a lot more of these POPs
We're going to need a lot more to keep up.
with the demand. Yeah.
Before the Nairobi launch, they had something like 33 POPs globally. Most of those were concentrated in North America, where they have the most users.
Right.
But as they expand into new markets,
Yeah.
they're going to have to strategically place more of these POPs around the world.
Right.
If they want to keep up, that good performance.
So this is a clever strategy.
It is. And the impact of this Nairobi POP goes way beyond just internet speeds.
Okay.
This could really shake up the entire internet landscape in Kenya and the surrounding region.
That's a great point. This is what I call a deep dive.
Yeah.
We need to unpack that more. I'm so curious to hear how this one POP could have such a big impact.
Well, think about it. Improved internet performance at a price that's actually competitive, this could put pressure on traditional internet providers.
Yeah.
They're going to have to, step up their game.
Right.
We could see lower prices, better services for everyone.
That sounds like a win-win for consumers. But hold on, before we get too excited about the positive impacts, is there another side to this? What about the potential security risks that come with increased connectivity?
That's an excellent point.
Yeah.
I mean, as more and more people are relying on Starlink,
Yeah.
especially in regions where cybersecurity infrastructure might not be as robust, ensuring that network is secure becomes even more critical.
So what is Starlink doing to keep its users safe?
Yeah.
And what can users do to protect their data? We've got to dive deeper into that.
You're right. Cybersecurity, that's critical.
Yeah.
Especially with a growing network like Starlink. It's like if you're building a bigger house,
Okay.
you need stronger locks.
Right.
You need a better security system.
Sure.
Got to keep everything safe.
So what kind of security measures does Starlink actually have in place?
Well, from what we know, it's pretty sophisticated, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, for starters, all the data that travels between, your device, the satellites, the ground stations,
Right.
all of that is encrypted,
Okay.
which means, it's basically scrambled.
So it's like sending a secret message that, that only the person who's supposed to get it can read it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then on top of that, they have firewalls, they have intrusion detection systems at their POPs. So these act like, like digital bouncers.
Okay.
Keeping out any malicious traffic or any unauthorized access attempts.
So they've got the data protected when it's traveling around, and then they've got extra security measures at the POPs.
Exactly.
Is there anything else that they're doing?
Yeah. They're also following all those, security best practices.
Okay.
Things like regular software updates,
Right.
vulnerability patching. It's,
Like updating your computer's antivirus, right?
Exactly. Helps protect you from the latest threats.
Okay, that makes sense. But even with all these precautions, no system is perfect.
Of course not.
So what can users do to protect themselves, on their end?
Well, users have a huge role to play in all of this.
Okay.
It all starts with strong, unique passwords.
Right.
I mean, please don't use the same password for multiple accounts.
Right.
Make sure it's a mix of uppercase, lowercase letters, numbers, symbols.
Okay, got it. Strong passwords, check. What else?
You got to be wary of phishing emails and those suspicious links. Those are often disguised to look legitimate.
Yeah.
But they can, steal your personal information. They can install malware on your device.
If it looks too good to be true, it probably is.
Exactly. And then finally, always keep your device's software up to date.
Okay.
Those updates, a lot of times they include security patches that are fixing vulnerabilities that hackers could exploit.
Good advice. So it sounds like, a combination of Starlink having these really robust security measures in place.
Right.
And then users, using smart practices.
Exactly.
That can really, really make a difference.
Absolutely. And as satellite internet just becomes more and more common, it's crucial that both providers and users were all proactive about cybersecurity.
So, okay, we've talked about the technology,
Yes.
the potential economic impact, the importance of security.
Yeah.
What about the bigger picture?
Yeah.
Like, what does this mean for the future of internet access,
Right.
especially in Africa?
I mean, this is where things get really, really interesting. This move by Starlink, it could be a catalyst for greater internet penetration across the continent.
So you mean like bringing high-speed internet to more people, even in like remote areas?
Exactly. I mean, just imagine the possibilities
Yeah.
if reliable, affordable internet access was widespread.
Yeah.
I mean, it could revolutionize everything. Education, healthcare, business, entrepreneurship.
That is a powerful thought. But let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Right.
What are some of the challenges that still need to be addressed?
I think affordability is a big one.
Okay.
I mean, even with the lower latency, the improved speeds, Starlink, it's still pretty expensive.
Okay.
Compared to some of the more traditional internet options in a lot of parts of Africa.
So how do we make it more accessible? How do we make it so that it's not just, for the people who can afford that premium price?
Right. That's a really critical question. It's probably going to take a combination of things like government subsidies, partnerships with local communities, maybe some innovative financing models to bridge that affordability gap.
And what about the infrastructure challenges?
Yeah.
I mean, getting the equipment, the support to remote areas.
Yes.
I mean, that can be really difficult. It can be expensive.
That's another hurdle for sure.
Yeah.
It might involve, some creative solutions like mobile POPs.
Okay.
Or maybe even partnering with existing telecommunications companies
Right.
to leverage the infrastructure that they already have in place.
So it sounds like there's still work to be done, but I mean, the potential benefits are huge.
Enormous.
Yeah.
And, we can't predict the future, but it's really exciting to see companies like Starlink pushing those boundaries, bringing us closer to a world where everyone has access to the internet.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From all the technical details about POPs to, the economic and social implications of all this increased access.
Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap up, is there anything else that you think our listeners should keep in mind?
I think one of the big takeaways for me is that technology is just changing so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, a few years ago, even thinking about reliable, high-speed internet from space.
Right.
I mean, it seemed like science fiction.
It really did.
And now it's,
I mean,
it's becoming real for more and more people.
yeah, it's amazing.
Around the world. Yeah.
And it's not just about the tech itself,
Right.
It's how we use it.
Yeah.
To tackle these big global challenges like bridging the digital divide.
Yeah.
And helping, foster economic growth.
It's like I don't know, we're at the beginning of some whole new era. Yeah.
Of connectivity.
Right.
Where, where you live doesn't limit,
Exactly.
what information you have access to.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the opportunities that you have.
It's a powerful thought, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's really exciting to think about the possibilities.
It is.
But we also, we have to remember,
Yeah.
there are potential downsides.
Of course.
We've got to have those strong cybersecurity measures in place.
Right. Right.
And people need to know how to stay safe online.
We can't just assume that technology is going to solve everything.
Right.
We have to be we have to think ahead about those ethical, those social implications.
Right. It's a shared responsibility, right?
Absolutely.
It's not just on one person or one company.
No.
It's on governments, businesses, individuals.
It takes all of us.
So we're wrapping up this deep dive into Starlink's latency solution and all the things that go with it.
Yeah.
What's like the one thing you really want our listeners to take away from this?
I think it's that technology, it's a tool.
Okay.
And like any tool, it can be used for good or it can be used for bad.
Right.
The choices that we make today, those are going to shape the future of the internet and how it impacts all of our lives.
That's a powerful thought.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, everyone. We'll be back next time with another fascinating look at the world around us.